Well, Diwali is next week, but it isn't quite as festive as we expected it to be. Sales this year are down and so is the mood. The Reserve Bank's own surveys show that consumer confidence is declining, that business sentiment in manufacturing is dipping, inflation is rising and growth is sliding. The question is, how long will all of this last?
GST is turning out to be a party pooper this festive season. This electronics shop in Lajpat Nagar is all stocked up and ready, but there are no buyers. The shop clocked a sales of over 4 crore rupees last festive season, but this time around it has achieved just 80 lakh rupees so far, despite offering discount schemes and freebies.
Last year जो festival season थी हमारी अच्छी गई थी. इस मंथ में हम लोग दिवाली मंथ में अप्रॉक्स 4 CR क्रॉस किया था. हमने 4 करोड़ का बिजनेस किया था पिछले साल 2016 में. लेकिन इस साल जो अभी तक हमारे अप्रॉक्स 10 दिन बीत चुके हैं और हमने अप्रॉक्स अभी तक 80 लाख का बिजनेस किया हुआ है. तो
It's not just consumer durables, even garment and accessory stores have the same story to tell.
We had a fantastic season last year, I must tell you. Now, since the time when we are comparing our sales, what is coming up for 19th of October and what has happened last year, my sales is down about 70%.
According to Centre for Monitoring Indian Economy or CMIE, consumer expectations fell further by 2.1% in September, down from 1.2% in August. Consumer sentiment in September remained at the same level as in August, except for a few months. Consumer sentiment has been low since January 2016. With the 36-hour-long nationwide trucker strike already underway, this Diwali might lose all the sparkle for the traders. In New Delhi, Oinitam Oja for NDTV.
Well, how long is this expected to last? That's a question we've been repeatedly asking on this program for several days now. Professor Arun Kumar is back with us in the studio. Dr. Jagdish Shettigar also back with us. Mr. Gurcharan Das, the former CEO of Procter & Gamble with us. And Devinder Sharma also joining us tonight from Chandigarh. Mr. Sharma, let me ask you first. You haven't been on for a long time as we looked at the state of the economy. But what did you think of the RBI survey? Because whatever the surveys say is actually reflected in what we're seeing on the ground in terms of sales. You really can't tell that we're only like a week or so from Diwali. It's very different this year.
Well, I completely agree with you, and the Reserve Bank of India has given us a correct picture. You know, the ground realities are clearly depicted by the Reserve Bank of India survey. In fact, I had a conference today, and there the people are saying, we don't need अच्छे दिन, please give us back our old दिन, so पुराने दिन दे दीजिए हमें. That's the kind of a demand or this kind of discussion happening, which clearly shows that the consumer sentiment is down and the things are not looking up, especially in the rural areas. We must look at it that 70% country lives in rural areas, and there it is the terrible impact that demonetization has had on agriculture, and the prices have crashed, whether it is the pulses, even the latest, the new arrivals of moong. The procurement price is 5,575, and what the farmers are getting is roughly between 3,000 to 4,500 rupees per quintal. So look at the price crash, whether it is, crops like cotton or earlier the pulses, the tomato, potato, everything is down. And I'm sure wherever I go, farmers have been telling there's a black Diwali for them. And so therefore it is quite clear as to what the RBI says. As far as agriculture sector is concerned, of course, the consumer confidence is concerned. The chips are down.
Well, Gurcharan Das, just weighing on that. I mean, Devinder Sharma understands the agricultural sector well. He's spoken about the sentiment among farmers. That's very clear. What do you think? What does this survey tell you?
Well, I think the survey is to be believed.
That you see it yourself?
Yeah. No, it's true. When you've had such two major disruptions in your economy, it's not a surprise. But where looking forward, where I happen to agree with what Urjit Patel, the RBI governor, said yesterday, that I think that these disruptions are also self-correcting disruptions. There's nothing structurally wrong with the economy. The economy is still a very sound economy, and I think that the next 2 quarters, I mean, nobody can really predict, but as far as one can tell, the sales of cars, two-wheelers, core sector growth, PMI growth in the last few months, and import growth of imports, all these indicators suggest to me
the first signs
that,
of a revival.
yeah, that the worst is behind us, and that we are going to go back. Now we have to go back to 8 to 9%. That's not going to happen automatically. For that you need those basic reforms, land reform. I mean, yesterday you would be shocked. A Japanese businessman was telling me how hard it was for him to acquire land, because it needed something like 280 signatures before an acre of land could get.
So you're saying to get that 8%, you need that bigger policy
you need the
structure.
bigger reforms.
But let me just take what you said to Professor Arun Kumar, who has argued for a very long time that what we're seeing is just a reflection of the organized sector, that we're not taking into account the unorganized sector. Do you believe the worst is behind us though, as Gurcharan Das says?
No, you see, what the RBI data is based on survey of metropolitan areas, 6 metropolitan centers. It's not an all India survey also, it's not an all India urban survey also. So as Deven Sharma rightly points out, doesn't reflect what's happening in 70% of the population which is in agriculture, doesn't reflect the smaller towns, and it's the unorganized sector which was hit the hardest, both by demonetization as well as the GST. But GST has also hit the big business. So actually the sentiment is down far more. This is only the tip of the iceberg that we are seeing. And therefore, what I've been arguing is that when the unorganized sector is hit, demand is hit, and that's why RBI data shows capacity utilization is low. When capacity utilization is low, investment becomes low. When investment becomes low, growth comes down. So unless investment is revived, and for that the sentiment has to be right, but the sentiment is down for 2 reasons. GST has confused even the big business, so even the big business sentiment is down, and demonetization had also resulted in a lot of raids and a lot of other things that are taking place.
But when the RBI governor talks about 7.7% down the line, why is he saying that then? He has to have a basis for it.
I don't know what's the basis for what he's saying, but the unorganized sector data, even the RBI report admits, is not there. If the unorganized sector data is not there, then the data is based only on the corporate sector data for the quarterly growth. Now, as long as based only on the corporate sector, it doesn't reflect what's happening in the unorganized sector, and that's what has been hit. So my argument has been the rate of growth is not actually 5.7%, but close to 1%. And if it's 1%, then it's a cause for real worry. And for that, you need to revive investment, especially in the private sector. And if the business sentiment is down, it's not going to be revived.
Let me ask Dr. Shettigar, do you think that the revisions that were announced to the GST slabs the other day will actually make any impact as far as sentiment is concerned? And will it actually make things a little easier for small and medium businesses, or is this just tinkering with the GST?
I think this is just tinkering of, or trying to address the problems articulated by some of the
politically more than anything else.
Yeah, this is.
You don't think it will actually make an impact?
No, to some extent, especially in the regions like Gujarat and whatever especially the complaint was coming from the textile sector and the jewelers and when I fully support both GST and the demonetization, in spite of the fact that it's a disruption only in the short run. But the way the GST was implemented, especially with the multi-rates like the 5 rates, that created the problem. Now, giving the space to tax experts and the political leadership as well as the bureaucrats to interpret it and all. And on the other hand, the business lobby is lobbying for change in the rate. That shouldn't have been, because ideal GST was one country, one market, one rate.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there wouldn't have been spin. That is what when Yashwant Sinha pointed out that he brought on the tax rates to 3 rates and all. Now we are going back to the 5 rates, giving the power to the bureaucracy and the political leadership. So that has created a problem. I hope the government will correct this anomaly.